Shall we start? Opening the board. Okay. What? We have nothing in the inbox? Is the automation broken? What happened here?
People worked.
Yeah, the process. I think things are starting to move on their own.
Yeah.
That's great. But wait, I want to see if the automation is broken. Hmm.
That does not have an option box.
Interesting. Oh, because we created a new area a while back, right? Did we?
Yes, there was something.
Yes. Look at that. I was correct. It is broken. Where do I fix that? Change the UI. It's probably somewhere here. Area. Add an option. Is that all it takes? Can I rerun this?
If you, if we have free GitHub workers, GitHub action workers.
It seems like we have workers.
Yeah. No limits at the moment reached.
I heard that apparently the people in the in cryogenics, that sounds horrible. The people in the team that is called cryogenics, they were experimenting with some like heavy GitHub Actions based workflows where they were like fanning out and doing like 30 things at the same time or something. So that's probably why we were encountering those limits.
Oh,
but
okay.
still we should be looking into raising them, or like at least maybe look at private workers, shared private workers. But yeah.
Yeah.
Are we now getting new stuff?
Shit.
Ooh. Yeah, this will take a while, but at least it's now doing stuff, and that's for our area. So that has probably been failing for a while. But we can start on the right? There should be stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna look at this. We have one approval. We can get another one, then we can just merge it because it's too painful. I think now we have another conflict. So I think someone should look at it, resolve the conflict and merge. That's probably either you, Behan, or me. I mean, I can look at it, it's fine. But I think that's the best way forward.
Yeah, I won't have time this week, next week.
Okay.
Also probably.
Wait. Yeah. So you reviewed it.
Mhm. So basically, this brings the option to set the local OS disk of.
Yeah, this is this Azure. That's that Azure one, right? We discussed
Yes.
before.
Yes.
Yeah,
this
this
for
one.
Azure. Yeah. And it shouldn't break anything if you don't
Use it.
set that option. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think we're just waiting on this, right?
Yeah.
This comment from Aaron.
And another review. If we say we need 2 reviews, it was only my review until now.
Yeah. Aram should it looks like Aram has looked at it. Maybe he should just add a review.
Yeah.
When one would use it, that on the other hand means that you're losing the ability to access agent logs in case of an unresponsive agent, right? Right now, we do have the opportunity to take the disk of the unresponsive agent and mount it to another VM or another deployment. This is something one would lose, right?
Yeah, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But this is
I mean, there
always
are
the
ways.
case.
Yeah. But
I mean, what you could do is what sometimes works is if you have an authorized key that you put in the Bosch EMV settings, because that usually gets picked up pretty quickly. I mean, there are cases where it fails before that and it doesn't work, right? But since that key gets injected through the I mean, if the whole OS crashes, that doesn't help. But
yeah.
like, say 80% of the cases, you could still SSH in if you have no running agent.
Right now we don't have we don't distribute such keys, but yeah, okay.
No, but I'm like, if you, yeah, it's difficult for if you have like you probably don't want that for like a production system, because then you have one key that gives us access everywhere.
Exactly.
But it's more for like debugging purposes. Like if you have a thing that fails all the time in a certain way, then sometimes that works. But yeah, you could also just disable this setting now. Is there a way to say yes to that? something like that. Fancy feature. Lots of approvals, but doesn't work. Once begs the question, what are these reviewers doing? Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, so I discussed this with Ramon. Did you create the pull request, Ramon, for
No, I
the
didn't have
release?
access, so I need to put it to my local thing, and I need to.
You can just create a
I
fork,
need to
right?
do that. I just need to fork it. I know.
It's one
But
button, right?
It
I
would
can show you.
so
Like
be
it's really
so much
no,
easier.
it's really easy. It's
But
like
just
here,
without
you have this button. No, it's like pretty easy. Like you just do like with your mouse and then you do the click. thing.
It's not what I want.
You're gonna have that discussion again about like permissions for everybody and all like that. It will take a while till we get there,
Yeah, it's okay.
especially for the Bosch packages org because it has no automation at the moment. Yeah, I discussed this with the VMware folks, and they are gonna take over this pull request because there's like one bit that's missing related to the final, what's it, final packages or something.
The final builds packages.
Yeah, these are
And-
not yet renamed, so but that's
And-
I don't know, a bit
And
nested.
that is handled somewhere else, and it needs to be refactored. And
But it has been tested, right? So if you just rename it, so you use this code that is here and then rename the final builds package manually, then it works. If you also have the Ruby release changes, so because there's in the Ruby release there are some things that are hard coded, some paths, and they should just use the Bosch compile target. That's the change that Ramon made, and so yeah, basically we have had a proof of concept, or Ramon has a proof of concept which works and should fix this. Now it just needs to be I don't know,
Yeah.
the Bosch CLI stuff needs to be fixed by the VMware team, and Ramon needs to create his pull request for the Ruby release, and then we need to roll it out to all the CPIs and all the what else. The Bosch director also needs to do the same thing. So we're gonna prefix everything.
yeah, it's still not the final solution, but
I don't know, why not? It's pretty elegant. And it's
Uh,
better than we had before.
because
I
now
mean-
we basically when you vendor packages, it always needs to be prefixed. Basically.
Sure, but that you do through you vendor packages through automation, right?
Yeah, okay, that's true, but it's, yeah.
So it's something you set up once and then it keeps working. And you still have the benefit of using a shared common package.
True.
I mean, it's not. Yeah, I don't know. It's a simple enough solution. Like all the other solutions that were in that document are really expensive. So. So yeah, that's the plan forward.
Mhm.
Yes. Ooh, look at that.
Wow.
I was right.
Can we just cut off the video like 2 minutes earlier or 30 seconds earlier? Yes, empty.
And we're done.
So yeah, this still needs to be reviewed by someone, and then I can put it in. I just released the new stem cells because.
Yeah,
this
but there's
one
the other ones, right?
it is
The
for Bionic, but someone
No, but
needs to
it's-
review the other one, and then we can just automatically do this one.
yeah, those reviews aren't that complicated. It's this stuff.
Yeah, but this stuff is not necessary for us. This.
I just want us to align with
Yeah, they say this shouldn't require waiting for stem cell to work. So
yes.
we need to fix the stem cell.
No, but this is a different PR in the same repository. So this 100 repo or PR 100 is
But
dependent on the stem
We
cell.
don't remove any package.
No, we
don't-
don't remove anything. We just add something.
Just
It's more
add-
about like, but we do change some configuration here, right?
No.
It's not only adding the package.
configuration, but it just added extra. It loads now 2 modules.
It's basically this line.
Yes. It shouldn't be rocket science for people that to check this.
Mm.
Anyone
What I understood from the PR 100 discussion, Benjamin was wondering why this is done in the stem cell. Something for syslog is done in the stem cell. Maybe it
because this
belongs
has
more.
nothing to do with the syslog stuff.
This is our
This is-
syslog conf.
This is the own rsyslog conf for their own logging. For the own logging of our own stuff.
Mhm.
What's our own stuff? I mean, the our syslog release is also for like our syslog release is
Everything-
just to configure this.
Everything that's basically for the normal syslog, kernel logs, and all the other stuff
Mhm.
that's being
Yeah.
sent to our syslog server if you configure it.
Yeah, if you configure it, that's the important bit. Because
Yeah,
like
this
if
is-
you are not using our syslog release, you're not configuring it. So why do you need to set
You're
this
still
up?
using this.
Hmm?
You're still using this.
You're not using this file. This file like our syslog is just like if you don't use our syslog release, then you're
But
not
this is
shipping
the
your logs
rsyslog,
anywhere.
This is by default installed. This has nothing to do with thing because we need to handle the kernel logs, the syslogs. These are all default log files. And normally you have journal D for this. So I fixed the whole thing about this for AWS like 3
Mhm.
weeks ago. System D, you have journal D, system D, journal D. They all need to log somewhere. And then now it's going to send to our syslog. So now if you want, so our syslog will log it in the specific set of files.
Yes.
Then it's going to be rotated if needed. If the file is too big or too long. And then the syslog release can just basically hook up to this rsyslog that's currently running and say, hey, I want to have this log files as well. That's basically what this is for.
But
So
our
this is
syslog
extra-
or syslog release is just configuring the our syslog daemon, right? Differently.
I think it hooks it into it instead of configuring.
No, I think it's just writing config files.
Since when are you allowed to override direct
Yeah, it's a dirty
system
thing.
stuff?
Yeah, that's why I'm like that's why I'm saying like we should like align with them because they are this is like it's not a typical Bosch release because they are just changing config files.
I don't think so.
Was my understanding. Oh, wait, they use black box? No, but here. So they have a pre-start
That's
script.
for syslog, that's their own stuff. Here they add an extra rsyslog daemon file So they basically add
They
an
remove a
extra
bunch, right?
that will just basically override specific stuff that they need. So they're not doing anything.
Isn't this the main file?
That's the main file, yes.
So they removed that file.
Okay.
I mean, just saying.
But again, we have our syslog is starting for our own, and it's doing things and it's logging stuff.
Yes, the question is, does it need OpenSSL to do the thing it's doing? Because it's
Again,
not forward.
doesn't matter. Our syslog itself says use OpenSSL, don't use the OnRel anymore.
Sure, but
So why
if you're
shouldn't
not
we go for this
if you're not
easy
forwarding,
fix?
if you're not forwarding logs anywhere,
Again, why is this so difficult? I don't understand.
it's not difficult. It's more of like this. The only thing I'm concerned about, or I think we can do without these lines, right? We
No.
don't have to change these lines, because if we just make sure that OpenSSL is available as a packet, or the rsyslog OpenSSL.
It needs to be there by default. And by default, if you install Ubuntu with rsyslog, it's by default in there.
This line.
Yeah, all these lines. This is as default as possible. But yeah, I'm fine with it anyways. But I don't understand what the difficulty is, because just at this freaking line, everyone is blowing it up, but it doesn't break anything. Just saying now you use TLS-lib OpenSSL instead of the one G in utils. That's
I
it.
think that, because that's also, I think, what Benjamin was like trying to get across. Said this. Yeah, it's this thing.
Yes, so but you still need that package, because that package is you're
Yes,
not allowed to able
so
to
we
install.
add that package, but if you if they
but-
overwrite the config file anyway, right? They
Yes,
bring their
why
config
won't
file.
you then keep it? Why don't you just add that stupid line there anyway? It's just there.
Because
Who
then,
cares?
if you added line here, you're affecting everybody that's using the stem cell. If you
No.
add this line only to the rsyslog release, it's the responsibility of the rsyslog release, right? It's basically about responsibilities. Like, from a Bosch side, I found it hard to reason about how we use this thing from a Bosch perspective, because I'm not maintaining the rsyslog release. So I can reason about, oh yes, we add additional
Why are we
package
configuring
because it's
our
a
syslog at
dependency.
all? Why are we configuring our syslog at all? Why are we using systemd? Why are we using all these things? Then we can just say, yeah, we don't care about it. I don't.
So we
understand the-
configure it so that we do store logs in
Yeah,
a
but if
central
people
place
don't-
locally on the machine.
if
We
people
don't. We are
want
not
to-
concerned with shipping the logs. If you want to ship the logs, you use our syslog release, and that happens to configure the same daemon. I think
Yeah.
that's like the API boundary.
But there is a syslog forwarder and our syslog already configured by default within the stem cell, because it needs to handle the default logs, the kernel logs, all these.
Mhm.
default
Yeah, but I'm like,
system
that's all
logs.
local to the instance, right? That's all internal forwarding. I'm like talking about external forwarding when you want to send it to a centralized system.
Yeah, but
And
they
if you-
delete anyway, so it's just if they have some other creepy tool that they use in a different thing and they want to use the default logs and don't want to override anything.
Let me put it differently. Is this line required for SAP to have it work? Or how is SAP configuring rsyslog? Are you all using the rsyslog release? Or is there a different way are you using a different mechanism to configure the forwarding?
I think they use the syslog release.
Yes, I also think that, and my understanding is that this line here makes it more resilient. Otherwise, you have when the connection is not stable so when you follow the locks and the network connection is not stable, OpenSSL is more resilient on that.
Yeah,
that
I
situation.
understand that piece of the argument.
So now
So I'm
it's-
not concerned about the line itself. I'm just concerned about putting this line in the stem cell builder versus putting it in the rsyslog release.
So you want to remove this complete line in the, maybe it will break some edge case for someone?
I mean,
Then
yeah, it's
rather
more.
having the TLS lib set to OpenSSL that will not break anything. I'm sure this.
If we make a change here, now is the time with Jamie because everyone is validating. I think it's if we don't see an issue adding this to the Jamie stem cell. It is anyway configured here also.
And there's a lot of stuff we can clean up, so maybe we can, but then we need to go another route. Then we just need to make, why are we configure all these rsyslog stuff?
Yeah, like this this file is.
The same as why is it still using variable mod load? Well, upstream in Ubuntu packages, it still uses mod load, but in the official packages, they use module instead from mod load for us.
Mhm.
So there is a lot to clean up only in the rsyslog conf or in the syslog stuff. So yeah.
Because we aren't doing that many things here. Okay, we have this. A lot is commented out.
Yes, because this is a default rsyslog conf
This was just copied from somewhere.
from the default Ubuntu package.
Uh-huh.
And we have the rsyslog 50 conf, I think those are for the default stuff. But
Yeah, it hasn't had a lot of changes to it, this file.
nope.
Um, yeah, I still believe if we don't need it, then we shouldn't load it. Like we aren't like locally. If you're not forwarding stuff, you're not using OpenSSL,
Yeah, but by default,
so you shouldn't load the code.
It already does load now with the GNUtils TLS lib, which is broken in some cases, only on high
So
levels.
you mean that's the default? But is this line changing that? So it's
So
changing.
now it's using OpenSSL instead of GNUtils. And the old way is still using.
Are you
GNU.
sure that it is actually using that by default?
No, because our syslog is
Isn't-
still using GNUtils, but they are saying because it's not. It has not been. All these changes has not been going down the road still. Like Canonical is famously slow for adapting to new things, because they're the same as us. Change is bad. It's freaky. If we don't understand it completely. So yeah, I'm fine. I don't care. But the rsyslog is already going to use this OpenSSL package, so
Okay.
that's what they said, right? From the rsyslog logs. that they need that specific
Mhm,
package.
yeah, no, I've
go
seen
into-
that. Yeah.
So then, yeah. But we can also change it that we just use OMRAP, that we only install the
Yeah,
package.
basically, if you get rid of this, then the TLS lib is gonna default.
It's gonna default to GNU
Yeah.
tabs.
Okay. Yeah, I guess it makes the you could also reason the other way around, saying like if we're gonna add the package,
So
Then we
the
should-
syslog release needs this package because
yeah,
the
that
one-
no question about that part, right? That's fine. Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't want to remove no GNU TLS.
I would
because-
not remove this as well because this again is a default thing.
Yeah, also like that would make it really ugly to roll out the syslog release, right? It would be a breaking change.
Yes.
That's not a good thing. Yeah. Okay.
Same as why we entered the mJSON parser in a long time ago.
I think we have discussed this enough. Okay. That took way too long. Ugh, yeah, those PRs.
I was wondering whether we need to discuss this on the TOC level or just every working group decides for.
I know some working groups have already started merging these types of things. My concern is a bit that if everybody starts doing that, we run out of GitHub workers quite quickly. Maybe. So I would rather wait for the discussion we have at the TOC around that, the external workers.
Mhm.
Did we actually? Yeah, we didn't have a follow-up because
No, Chris
Chris
was
is on vacation, right?
Yeah.
He wasn't there like this week. So. And he
Yes.
was gonna follow up with GitHub to see if there's options for us to get more workers. Can I create? Yeah, I can convert it. Also, an urgent issue at the moment.
Which one?
Be right back.
It's not an urgent issue, but
This is a long meeting.
I want to
Probably it's like 20
discuss.
minutes.
Okay, I'm back. What's this? Bosch agent. Why is this change?
X attributes.
I see. This is a disk migration issue.
Mhm.
It would be good to have a test or something for this because this is really hard to review. I don't know if we have a test for. So which part of the code base is this? Linux platform. Yeah, migrate persistent disk. So it would be good to have a persistent disk that an integration test that demonstrates the problem, right? Because otherwise we might break it in the future.
Yeah. From mount point to mount point string. I was wondering whether you can write a unit test here.
No, because it's shelling out, right? So it's really difficult to. Wait, was it in Bootstrap?
It was an agent. Oh,
Linux platform. Okay, platform. Still getting used to this new UI. I mean, yeah, could just add a test here, right?
mhm.
I was just wondering if this would need to go into bets or that it could go in this repository. I think it could go into in here. Sure. Someone wants to review this.
I can
Is
read it
this-
because I asked Peter to open the.
Oh, you asked him
Yeah.
to make the PR?
Yeah, he was. There was an issue that.
Okay. If you have context, I mean, this just looks like a search replace. Feel free to merge.
Mhm.
Wait, we just looked at this one, right?
This is the bionic stuff. Yeah.
Oh, this is the one for Bionic?
Yeah.
I see. Yeah, and this one is reviewed and merged, so this one can also be merged. Interesting.
Then AWS or is it VM? Is it
Huh?
VMware? Is it VMware XN or is it? I don't know.
Isn't that Citrix?
No, it's like an XN server. What's it?
Yeah, Citrix hypervisor.
Oh, dude, didn't even know people were doing this.
leading hypervisor. Most of us Google.
What CPI are they using then? Hey, where is this? What stage is this? License, yeah, sure, yada yada yada. Oh, it's CloudStack. Yeah, nobody tested that.
No. Yeah, if he tests it, I'm okay with it. I will sign my name.
Yeah. But this is
Yeah, I don't.
this
I
is
don't
not
like,
ideal.
I don't like this.
No. Because that's gonna fill our builds once this has an issue.
Yeah.
How big is that file? Because like most of the things are actually just put in the in GitHub. I believe like a lot of things we have a few things that we fetch using those meta links.
Yeah, but that's not within here, I think.
No.
Bilder. Good.
Yeah, this is a good.
So we do it for Ruby.
Do we fetch Ruby from the internet?
The Ruby installer from Postmodern. We use that from Git. We used it with GitHub. Yeah, install Ruby. The Ruby installer is done with that. Same as with or for Orange Cloud Foundry stuff. I don't know, the Ubuntu VR metadata cloud stack also already use curl. We download the meta link from the DPB from GitHub. So yeah, we can we do it in many locations.
Yeah.
So yeah. Oh, the Ruby install is in the CI Docker.
That's CI, so that's not a problem.
Yeah, but I see like for the Bosch stem cell builder stages, Bosch Go agent, we also use wget to get the meta link.
Yeah, but getting a meta link is different, right? I assume that's from our own bucket.
And for
it's about like reproducibility, right? We should fully own all the dependencies or all the things that we pull in.
Yeah, we have.
But that's actually not fully true for Canonical, but that's I guess the exception.
So the Azure WAA Linux agent, we also get that with the curl from outside. Some VHD utils tool. We clone a whole repository.
I stand corrected.
Yeah, we have
something we do.
many things.
Yeah.
there are like 4 things that we download from the outside the internet, and one even is cloning a whole repository.
Oh, beautiful. Okay, yeah, then it's fine, I guess.
Yeah, decision has been made.
Yeah, it's not nice, but we do it in other places, so I guess we just live with it.
Yeah. I don't like these hard-coded things.
Yeah, because you also have no way, or it's
We
difficult to.
forget upgrading it.
You forget, yeah, you forget to update. But in this case, I don't really care because it's not something I mean, mostly people
I'm
that
not-
are in Cloud Stack that care, I guess.
I'm not using
Yeah, mostly that, yeah.
it. Dude, it's getting late. It's already an hour, man. Should we?
Yeah.
Matthias, you still had something to ask, right? Or didn't?
I don't know if we have to discuss it right now. So yeah, but in general, it would be nice to have some. No, there are multiple questions that are interesting for me, because currently we started with the implementation of the Azure Storage CLI, similar to the S3 CLI, right? And there I would have some questions with regards to integration later on, because currently we are doing that in the repo on my own owner in GitHub, yeah. But as soon as we are integrating it to Bosch, at some point in time, I guess we have to switch to a different repository. Otherwise, we cannot merge required PRs, right?
Yeah, we should create I think to follow the pattern, we should create a separate repo in Cloud Foundry, in Cloud Foundry
Yeah.
org.
Okay.
Because we
So-
have that for all the other CLIs as well, right? So we should follow that.
Yeah. Okay. So currently we are. I mean, we just can go ahead for next 2 weeks, I guess. But then we are probably done with the CLI part, so with the major parts, and then I would like to integrate it early, right?
Yeah, maybe it makes sense to because I mean, yeah, I would start to maybe create a PR to the community repo to ask to create the repository, and
Mhm.
also to add it to the foundational infrastructure working group, because then we can get the repo set up, and then it's just a matter of pushing to it, and then it's there, right? And then we can have the full review thing once we are gonna integrate it into Bosch, but then it's already in the right place. And you don't have to block your development now, because you can just work against the private thing, and then but we can already start getting that the final place set up.
Yeah. If you say I would, do you mean you would, or shall I create some request somewhere?
It's always this nice language of saying I'm not gonna do it, right? It's a polite way of saying I'm not gonna do it. No. I think it's good if you create a PR and then like Ben and I can approve it, basically, and then it's gonna be created. Because
is there some information where I need to?
I will show you. So it's
Okay.
this repo community. The thing there is there's 2 files that you want to touch. There's a cloudfoundry.yaml file that contains all the repository definitions. So you just add the name and then, I don't know, default branch description. That will create a repository. And then the same PR, you can also add it to org. No, not org. It's TOC. So there's one in the org and the other is in the TOC, and there you have working groups, and then you have foundational infrastructure, and then you add it to this bit here where you have the list of repositories. So that makes it so we have ownership as a Bosch group. So
here.
added to this list.
Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah. Then today and the days before, we had a look into the integration of S3 CLI into the BOSH director and somehow via utils into the agent code as well. And at some point, we always get stuck in the agent because it's really confusing what's going on there. Is there somebody knowing the agent code in that way and who can be contacted? Do we know somebody?
Yeah, all that code what is worked on basically for the blob store is like 8 years old.
Yeah,
Nobody has
exactly.
touched it since. So if anyone has some,
I believe that probably all the people also on the VMware side will have to build up context to start working on
Okay.
this. So
Okay.
yeah, that's unfortunate. I think Aaron has recently at least looked at, but I think that was mostly around bumping, auto bumping the different CLIs into because we were building all these CLIs, all these Blobstar CLIs. We have pipelines to cut new releases with new versions of Go, but then we weren't bumping them in the stem cell builder and stuff like that, and the BOSH director release. So he at least has context on those things. So like how the auto bumping and everything works, because that's probably also something you want to do at some point. But yeah.
Okay.
I mean, like if you want in the end to have a pipeline that cuts new versions of this CLI, you probably want the same pipeline as all the other ones have, and Aaron has context on that.
Okay.
yeah, but that's not what he's really looking for.
No, I understand. It's like
100.
how the CLIs are working, or like how the interaction is with the
So what we
the
currently
agent.
think is that the director for the signed URLs, the director gives it all to the agent, and then the agent and then via nets, and then the agent then just basically
downloads
for loop for each of these signed URLs, and then delegates to the HTTP client, and then downloads the signed URLs. That's what
Yes.
we're at 2 hours ago, but
yeah,
this is correct.
It's really difficult to go through, because you have the BOSH agent, then it goes somewhere to utils, and then somewhere to the director, and so yeah, it's all bumping around stuff. So
yeah, it's really strange that it's at some point in time it's somehow delegating to the CLI, right? Which is
yeah, and the CLI itself is configured with, or right, it takes a config file.
Yeah.
Or is that yeah? So
yeah, it takes a config file containing access keys and so on.
Yeah.
Or the signing URL which is sent.
Yeah, so you don't have that on the agent side, right? Because but you do have options to configure a blob store. Like that's the legacy. If you're not using signing URLs, you have.
Yes, if you don't, there is the agent settings. They have the blob store. If I'm not mistaken, if you use the old way without signing URLs.
Yeah, and there's another thing is that for like unsigned URLs, which the majority of people is using, you get the access log in WAR VCAP director blob store. They have these access logs, but these don't work for signed URLs, because this happens on the VM with the agent itself. So there is no logging for signed URLs if they fail or if they retry for whatever reason. I thought maybe it's a good idea to create, if there are signed URLs, that it will post these things to access logs or whatever to a specific log file also. or maybe drop it into the agent log. But the agent dropping it in an agent log is like, yeah, there's a million.
But
lines of code there, so,
assigned URL is sensitive, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, one has to redact it somehow, right?
Yeah, because like if you have it, then you could potentially access blobs. Maybe
Yes, for 1-2
even
minutes, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, like, there's
You would, I mean more that we paste like not the whole complete URL, but we just say, hey, this fails or whatever, or just
Yeah.
do a snapshot for only the UID or whatever for some reason. I don't
okay.
or a small part or whatever. Just say, hey, I fail, and then other people can just go into the system and see that it actually fails. But now it's very hard to see if something is being.
You mean there's
retried.
no error handling if you're fetching something using assigned URL? I doubt that.
So it is somewhere within the. I think there's something that when it really fails, you get it in the agent log somewhere. But
Mhm.
that's it.
That seems like the appropriate place to do it, right? There, you cannot do it on the director side because
No, I know, but maybe an extra file where you can just see, where it's easier to just extrapolate from. Okay, here we see that it's just
but if people are debugging things, they are only looking at the agent log.
okay.
So I think that's the appropriate place. Like, I mean, just looking at what we say to support folks at VMware, we say like, if you have some problems with your thing, go give us an agent log.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. Yeah, it's a bit crowded, but
Yeah, but I mean, like, you all do you do get like a full overview of what it's doing. It's just
true.
a lot of noise.
Yeah, okay. Well, then, Matthias, you don't have to go that route. Just need to that it needs to
Yeah,
log into the agent log.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
it basically only says it fails or succeeds or whatever.
So, and we had some error walks in the agent walks when we had the signing URLs and the wrong certificate configured. So there, I remember we were looking into
Yeah.
errors with signing URLs in the agent walks. So there are some
Yeah,
there is some
the
logging.
story behind it is more in the direction to get metrics. So if you enable the signed,
Mhm.
if you enable S3, then you want to see, oh, how often did it retry to fetch blobs and so on, right?
Okay.
And this seems to be difficult currently,
Yeah, this happened
especially
because
if it
of
fails
DNS.
to yeah.
So when you have like signed URLs and you try to get the Bosch from the Bosch DNS blobs basically, and that failed because S3 used a different certificate that was not signed and it was annoying. But we couldn't find it for a very long time. It was a really hard debug process, so that's why.
Yeah.
It's good to know.
Yeah, maybe there are some options to get metrics from the YAS provider side.
But if you're failing
Yeah,
to
but then it's
connect-
yeah specific, right? And we do have to provide or to get from 4 YAS providers the metrics, right? And therefore we thought, okay, maybe there's an option to get it from the agent or whatsoever.
Yeah, ideally we should have at some point maybe a Prometheus scrapable endpoint at on the agents where we could like start having some metrics like that, like because that would be the.
If you have some ideas what could be done regarding metrics, we can separate the metric stuff, but you can start a document to maybe describe what could, like some ideas. For example, how it could work.
So the agent scraper endpoint is a good idea. It's just a lot of work, I think.
Yeah, but I think that would be the appropriate way to do it. But I have to jump now to my next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
See y'all. Bye.
Well, guys, see you.
See you. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Take care.